Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Departments, and I think it's item 616, Community Development Approve Agreement for the Friendship Beautification Project, and move that to county departments. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve removing 616 to the county departments.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any comments from the public? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Now on the consent agenda itself, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda, or is that?
That's what we just did.
Oh, okay. I thought you did it just for the change. All right. Sorry about that. Do make mistakes every now and then. Special presentations. This is going to be a long day. We have a proclamation to Costco and a presentation to Suzanne Dorsey. We'll do Costco first, please. Do we have anybody from Costco? Dan, are you here? You can run, but you can't hide. County of Yuba Board of Supervisors proclamation honoring Administrative Technician Suzanne Dorsey. Am I pronouncing it right? Okay. Whereas Suzanne was born in Panorama, California. Panorama City, probably. Yep, Panorama City. Grew up there. And a graduate of Simi Valley High School, she settled in the Yuba-Sutter area and continues to make her home in Yuba City with Ted, her husband of 40 years. And Suzanne, whereas Suzanne started her career with Yuba County as an office assistant and had devoted her entire career to animal care services, holding several titles in the office before being named administrative technician in 2020. And whereas Suzanne's commitment to animal care services has been paramount over the years, Suzanne has been the foundation in the Office of Animal Care Services and has assisted thousands of Yuba County residents. And whereas Suzanne is highly respected for how she influenced and guided those around her, she is a very caring individual, a mentor, and a friend to all those who had the privilege to work with her. She has helped guide the careers of many people in animal care services. And whereas Suzanne is looking forward to a well-deserved retirement with her husband, Ted, they plan to travel together and enjoy the beautiful sceneries that nature has to offer. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Yuba County Board of Supervisors hereby commend Administrative Technician Suzanne Dorsey for over 22 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Yuba County and animal care services personnel, and wish her a happy retirement. There we go. That's fine. That's fine, whatever you'd like to say.
I just want to say I'm thankful for the opportunity for working for Yuba County with Animal Care Services for over 22 years. And thankful for all my coworkers for being supportive during that time. But also thankful for being a division under the Sheriff's Department for all their support, for their guidance, and keeping us safe. Come in when we call. They come pretty quickly. So I just thank you.
Thank you very much. County of Yuba Board of Supervisors proclamation recognizing the economic impact of Costco Wholesale in Yuba County. Whereas Costco Wholesale is welcomed and celebrated contributor to the economic development growth of Yuba County. And whereas Costco Wholesale has demonstrated a commitment to providing high quality products and services to its customers, which will foster a sense of community and enhance overall quality of life in Yuba County. And whereas Costco Wholesale has played a pivotal role in job creation, offering employment opportunities to a significant number of Yuba County residents, thereby contributing to the reduction of unemployment and enhancing the well-being of our community. And whereas the positive economic impact of Costco Wholesale in Yuba County extends beyond the immediate fiscal benefits to include an enhanced infrastructure, increased property values, and improved community services, particularly in the county's reemerging Northfield commercial corridor. And whereas Costco Wholesale has demonstrated corporate responsibility by actively participating in community initiatives, expressing interest in local charities, and promoting environmentally sustainable practice. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the leaders and citizens of Yuba County express their sincere gratitude and appreciation to Costco Wholesale for its significant contributions to the economic vitality and well-being of our community. And both entities look forward to a long, prosperous, and collaborative relationship. Thank you very much. Gary? Want to say a couple of words?
I just want to say thank you so much. We are excited to be a part of your community, and we look forward to the relationships that we get to develop with all of you and watching this county develop.
Look at the enthusiasm.
I am.
Way to go. Thank you very much,
you.
Carrie and Ricky.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Item 609, receive a presentation from Camptonville Community Partnership regarding Challenge Dobbins Community Health Action Plan. There you go.
It's great to be here before you guys today. Really wonderful. Our presentation's getting ready for the big screen, and while that's happening, consent agenda items, because on it was some funding for the Resource Center we're going to be talking about today, so that is fantastic. How are the children? My name is Kathy LeBlanc of Camptonville Community Partnership. With me is CCP's new Executive Director, Tracy Munson. And before you is the Challenge Dobbins Community Health Action Plan. In 2021, CCP received a grant from All Children Thrive California. Since then, we have met and partnered with community members and shared monthly updates with Yuba County Children's Council Prevention Network. Together, we've had the opportunity to build community from the inside out. I am here today with the folks of Challenge and Dobbins, please stand up, who have been working together since 2021 to develop and share with you this living document reflecting their dreams for a future where all children thrive. Over this 2.5-year span, these communities have discussed, identified, and taken action on 5 top areas of concern. Folks working together have formed a vision of the future and are taking steps to walk with our county government toward that vision. Through this Community Health Action Plan presentation, we share some of the story of Challenge and Dobbins, their concerns and their dreams. You may ask, why Challenge and Dobbins? It's because they are often looped with the larger communities of Brownsville and Oregon House rather than being recognized as their own rural hamlets. When this data merge occurs, it makes it so the specific concerns of Challenge and Dobbins are rarely identified, let alone discussed.
And when these concerns aren't addressed, it hinders the rural community's ability to thrive. It negatively impacts the physical, mental, and emotional health of the individuals that make the community function, which then leads to negative economic impacts as well.
We were here before you in January of 2022 to share the Foothill Transportation Study funded through All Children Thrive. Since then, Yuba-Sutter Transit Next Generation has determined there is really little they can do to increase Foothill public transportation options. But we tend to take no as our opening offer. And today we present some more of our story. With that, I'd like to introduce you to Powerhouse Chris Seeley with their homespun transportation solution that began with an idea and 2 donated vans, Mountain Transit.
My name is Chris Seeley, and I am the VP of Next Step nonprofit organization in Brownsville and the leader of Mountain Transit. Thank you for the invitation to be here today. Mountain Transit is a pilot program. There is such a need in the foothills for people to move about from community to community. The Yuba-Sutter Transit does serve our area 3 days a week, but doesn't serve our needs. We have a vision of independence for the people of the foothill communities to be able to go to where they want and when they need to. We began Mountain Transit officially in April of this year. Our van was donated to us, which carries 7 people and operates within a 300-mile radius. We have 11 volunteer drivers, and Mountain Transit has taken people to places like this, to church, to doctor appointments, the courthouse, Sacramento Airport, food banks, organization meetings, dialysis 5 times a week. The lady that goes to dialysis is very thankful for Mountain Transit when she needs us. We've taken people to cancer treatments. One of our ladies broke down and cried because riding the van gave her independence and freedom she thought she had lost. Now she doesn't have to ask for her family or friends to take her different places. Also, we take seniors to Seniors on the Go lunch, first Wednesday of the month in Dobbins, and to Stone Soup, which is every Thursday of the month. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cindy Kibbe Clark. I'm here joined, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous, All Children Thrive in 2021 in hoping to benefit my grandson, Timmy. Timmy's had a rough time in his young life. He's got some behavioral issues from early childhood trauma. He uses inappropriate language and is quite hard to handle at times. Anyway, he was in the local school environment, preschool and TK, and he was sent home regularly. He started kindergarten, and 3 days into kindergarten, he was sent home, and they started an IEP process. The IEP was put in place, and on September 26, Timmy started an emotionally disturbed class at Cedar Lane School here in Linda. That is a 6-hour school day and a 5-hour bus ride. That is an 11-hour day for a 5-year-old. I'm sorry, guys. My question is this: why don't we have a class up in our area for kids that need extra help? A place where our children are not shipped all the way to town. It is important for children to grow up and be socialized within their own local peer groups and cultures. This is where we find our first lifelong friends, and we form those relationships. Our young children are often feel ostracized and isolated when they're forced to attend a school so far from home. With an annual budget of $174 million, I just can't believe that that's the best that Marysville School District can do. This is another example of the foothill communities being underserved. The schools of residents must step up and provide the services needed for our children to flourish and thrive in their own communities. My point is this, that there are children, for whatever reason, need extra help and sometimes special help. They should not have to ride a bus for half of their day. Is it the best use of our resources to ship our children 80+ miles a day, 5 hours on a school bus? This adds 900 hours to an average school year, an average school year being 1,080 hours. There must be a better way, and it is my hope that all of us coming here together can and will come up with a much better plan. It's the health and welfare of our children that is the goal. It is not enough to educate children. First, they must be enchanted and inspired. That is the key to a love of learning. Thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm Margaret Fowler representing Dobbins. Our team of 4 is dedicated to addressing the critical issues of education and literacy. The presentation we are about to present to you paints a picture of a better future and is called A Second Chance. I will play Sarah.
I'm Jaden from Forbestown, and I play Sam.
I'm Alex from Challenge, and I will play Alex.
I'm Alexis from Brownsville, and I will be the narrator. Alex, an 11th grader, and Sam, a 12th grader, are getting off the bus from the long ride home. Both Alex and Sam exiting the bus looking exhausted and stressed.
Sam, I can't take this anymore. The pressure, the workload, it's too much.
I hear you, Alex. I'm barely holding on in my senior year. I can't even imagine how tough it is for you in 11th grade.
My grades are plummeting. I'm barely holding on. I've missed so many classes. My parents are disappointed. I'm thinking about dropping out.
Alex, you can't do that. We both need help. Maybe there's something out there that can support us.
Alex and Sam notice a flyer in the distance that reads Local Community Resource Center Education Support.
Hey, Sam, look at that. Maybe the community center can help us.
You think so?
I mean, it's worth a shot. What else we got to lose?
They walk over to the Community Resource Center. Inside the center, Alex and Sam meet with a friendly staff member named Sarah.
Welcome. How can I assist you today?
We're both struggling in school. I'm in 11th grade and thinking about dropping out, and Sam's barely making it through his senior year.
Yeah, we could use some help and support to continue our education.
I'm glad you came here. We have resources and a program designed to help students like you, tutoring, study groups, and even career counseling.
That sounds amazing. Can you help me catch up with my classes? With long bus ride home, there's no way I can stay after school to get help.
And maybe guide me towards a path after high school?
Absolutely. We will provide you the support you need. You don't have to go through this alone.
They sign up for the programs feeling hopeful. Several weeks later, Alex and Sam are back on the bus stop, but this time they look more confident and motivated.
Sam, can you believe it? With the help from the Resource Center, my grades are improving and I'm no longer thinking about dropping out.
And I'm actually looking forward to graduation now. They helped me explore different career options, and I have a plan for the future now.
Alex and Sam reflect on how their lives have changed.
We owe it all to the local community resource center. They really saved us.
Yeah, it's proof with the right support we can achieve our dreams.
They walk away determined to continue their education and succeed.
In reality, the high school journey for Alex and Jaden was marked by significant challenges. Alex struggled throughout all grade levels, feeling that the emphasis was more on discipline rather than learning. For Jaden, the struggle began with the transition from middle school to high school, a formidable leap he caught him by surprise. He constantly felt like he was playing catch-up and eventually made the tough decision to leave school during his junior year. Sadly, Alex and Jaden's experiences are not unique. We have witnessed numerous cases of Foothill students dropping out over the years.
Thank you, and have a good day.
My brother's one of their success stories. He was an antisocial kid. They helped him break out of his shell, which actually caused him to find a path in the Navy. He graduated from boot camp. He's actually doing his studies, and he should be home on the 22nd for a visit. So, thank you.
On the 22nd, have them call me and I'll buy them dinner, okay?
Hello, I'm Shireen, CCP staff and youth coordinator in Challenge. I grew up in the foothills and love where I live for the nature and beauty. It can be hard though. While there's a general sentiment that we look out for each other as a small community, we can actually be quite isolated and divided. I've been on both sides of this, the judgments and cliques, as well as the warmth of neighbors checking in on each other in times of crisis and need. I also remember feeling safer as a child, never locking our doors and leaving keys in the ignition of our cars. As much as we enjoy the space and privacy of living in the woods, with addiction and poverty levels rising, that space between neighbors makes me feel more vulnerable now. This is our vision. We value a close and connected community where trust, care, and respect is reciprocated between individuals and decision makers, where we look out for each other, putting all judgments aside for the greater good of those we live and do business with.
Hello, my name is Deborah Reynoso. I have lived in Brownsville for over 40 years. I worked for Marysville Joint Unified School District as a bus driver for 25 years. I retired and purchased an abandoned building in Challenge and opened a resource center. We are all aware of the housing shortage and also the affordable housing. We would like to see what the county could contribute, possibly waivers or reduced prices on maintaining homes. I have talked with Kevin and Amanda and others in the building department, and they have all been very helpful and pleasant to deal with. Hopefully, we can work with other agencies for clearing around houses and vacant land to help with fire protection, possibly lowering fire insurance. Here are two situations I have personally encountered being a person who has rentals in our area. A young mother with 3 young children was to move into her new home. The day before moving, the landlord heard gossip and turned her down. She is now homeless and has to put her possessions in storage. Another mother asked if I could rent my garage because she could not find any housing. I was sorry to say I would not rent it out. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Mary Carol Abbott. I'm currently a resident of Brownsville and soon to be of Dobbins. I'm going to speak about our rural environment. We are firm believers that the wonders of natural beauty have a profound impact on the soul. We are a supportive community which values and preserves the beauty, the natural beauty and lifestyle of a rural environment. We prefer raw earth over cement-covered ground. And we desire natural and undeveloped spaces around our homes, our schools, and businesses. We want to live and grow in balance with our natural environment.
Hi, my name is Leanne. Here at our new Resource Center and Challenge, we offer free high-speed internet from Starlink, free printing, faxing, can help with community questions, getting connected, filling out applications, and building resumes. We also offer a meeting space to local community and Yuba County offices, weekly NA meetings every Friday at 6 p.m. Since we opened our doors in February 2023, we have had 542 people use our center, as you can see on the screen. Our current hours are open Monday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., closed Friday through Sunday, and we would love to be open more hours. Thank you.
Additionally, working with a frontier rural community during COVID was both very challenging and rewarding. There are long and windy roads between these sparsely populated communities. We have even been challenged to find open and available public meeting space. As a result, through the grace of a community member and our state and county partners, such as YCOE Lighthouse Project, we've been able to open the Community Resource Center and Challenge at 10060 LaPorte Road. We are working with our community partners and county government to keep it open. To do this, we need your help. We need at least $50,000 annually to support this work. Passing the consent agenda that this resource center is a part of is a step towards that, and we thank you. Our work at All Children Thrive has led to a deeper, more meaningful involvement between county government and the folks who live in this frontier rural part of Yuba County. Very rarely is there an opportunity for one-on-one interaction with department heads at the county level. The Community Act meetings in Dobbins and Challenged have changed this. Special kudos to CWS Manager, Deputy Director of Health and Human Service, Tony Gordon, who's out there in the audience, who attended meetings regularly, and his easy demeanor led people to feel comfortable discussing community concerns.
And for our communities to succeed, we want local government leaders, such as the Yuba County Board of Supervisors, to utilize the Community Health Action Plan we've provided to make informed decisions on how to benefit Challenge and Dobbins and create equal opportunities. Before you are multiple letters that support the Resource Center and Challenge. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from the board?
My first comment, Kathy, is fantastic presentation, wide variety of the gamut of, I haven't had a play before, so thank you. One of the things you said at the beginning was no is a beginning of negotiations, and I really like that. So I would like to reiterate that the Yuba-Sutter Transit recently had a change in leadership, and the guy that came over came from a program, I want to say it was in El Dorado, where private citizens were reimbursed for providing rides to other private citizens based on a log. And so I don't know if you guys have pursued that, but that might be an option for your transit program where if they keep track of who's getting to where, then there can be a reimbursement program through them. They're not going to run buses up there. They're not going to run their schedule up there, but they can financially possibly support if you haven't talked to them about that already.
Thank you, Seth.
On the education side, the story about Timmy is obviously a story that provokes, but we aren't the ones who fund or determine the school bus schedule. So you want to do that particular presentation for the school board and hopefully get assistance or have IEP classes at that location for them. And then just your community center that you guys have ran, what you've done there, providing the Starlink internet access. I know that internet access in the hills is always often difficult, and so providing them with those business services, that's amazing. Again, kudos to you. Thank you so much.
Gary, anything?
Not a question, but I just want to echo what Seth had to say. That was an amazing presentation. Just a lot of variety. It was very encouraging to hear all the great things that are going on in the area and all the people that are stepping up to make those things happen. I think that's really important, and hearing that is just super encouraging. So thank you for sharing.
John?
Pretty much the same comments. Just really great to see people in my district all coming together and doing so much great work, and love the themed T-shirts. I would have worn one if you guys would have given me one ahead of the meeting. So
we'll give you one.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kathy, you know, it's you didn't just start this in 2000, what was it, 20 or something like that. You've been up there a force to be reckoned with. You and I had this discussion before because I lived that life of going from Bangor to Orrville to go to high school, and we catch up on our sleep both ways. But one of the things that you have to do, being so far away, is get involved with some of the different organizations. Get to the school board. As far as you know, government services, we can only go so far. And if you want city services, it's you got to be in the city to do that, because we don't have the resources to put all the things you'd like to have up there. But we will help you in any way we can. You know, in '84 when I came back here, you could leave the keys in the car. Of course, then it was an Audi. Nobody wanted to steal that anyhow. But you know, it's amazing what you've been able to accomplish in your quest for help for the people up there. But there's the distance situation, which always will create a problem. And like I said, we've discussed it before. And I think you have to meet us halfway. If you can't make the board meeting, if you know, 9 to 5 is unfortunately what we're going to have to do. As far as if you want to meet department heads, because we can't go up there and provide any services. So, but thank you very much for everything you've done. And it was a long, hard pull, wasn't it? It
was great. You know, and we're not really asking us
to
compare us to the city, Andy. We are very happy to be, you know, in the foothills. But the document before you is just a living document, so you have a feeling of how the folks in this area, you know, what their hopes and dreams and concerns are. So thank you, Andy.
All right. Well, we'll help however we can, and as much as we can do. But there's this little thing going on around us in the world. So thanks again. All right.
I really appreciate the presentation. It's just great to see that spirit up in the mountains. And I think we all have contacts with various departments and agencies, and now that we have this information, we can prod these other agencies to be aware of your situation up there. And once again, a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
All right, before we leave, we've got public comment, and thank you very much again, Kathy, very much.
I had one more comment I forgot because there's so much in your presentation. I believe that we do, because of state regulations, waive ADUs. So you can build a second, like a mother-in-law house. But again, that's a Kevin Perkins question, and he can correct me wherever I'm wrong about things. And I think that the state recently loosened the rules on tiny homes. Prior, you could not do them, and they've loosened those up. So those are definitely things to pursue. So
tiny homes will really help the senior population especially.
Thank you. We appreciate your time and this opportunity so much. We have an hour-long drive home, so we're all going to take off now, but thank you so much.
Okay.
Through the
All right.
chair, public
Young
comment
lady,
is
come up
Crystal
and,
Harding.
Name and where you from?
Good morning. Peace and love to community, our staff, and Board of Supervisors. I'm so privileged to be here today. I'm proud to say I am the ACT coach, the All Children Thrive coach, with the Yuba County team. We've been together on this journey for 15 months, believe it or not. Those are my besties over there.
One thing before we get started, this is a public comment on this item only. Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Yep. I filled out that card.
They said check the rules.
Okie dokie. We've learned so much on this journey, from trainings about data, doing our research, really digging deep about what community voice has to be amplified. We also really appreciate Supervisor Messick for visiting the Community Resource Center. We appreciate you coming to see and really learn what's happening there. And I really want to take this time to acknowledge the young people that have been doing this work along the way. We're giving them Youth Changemaker Awards. These are distinguished young people for being youth role models dedicated to creating meaningful impact in their community through understanding of policy and systems change. This youth design team representative engaged with local peers and adult allies to analyze and reimagine their community's local landscape so that future decision-making and local policy reflects a more equitable and inclusive community design. On behalf of All Children Thrive, I would like to present Alexis. Certificates, please come on up. And then I have another ask. Because I have 2 more minutes, I'm going to ask that our supervisors take a moment and take a picture with the team. I ask that all of our folks come up because I got time. So come on up, everybody. Supervisors, please stand so we can get a picture because we want to capture this moment. You can stay right where you are on the dais.
I'm sure about that.
Whatever you want.
There's more space.
There you go. Thank you so very much for your time. We appreciate you taking the chance to listen and be involved with the change in our community.
The fastest we move in years.
If you insist. What size shirt can you wear?
For you.
Okay. Any more public? Any public? I guess better turn my mic on. Receive the annual update from the Historic Resources Commission. Follow that one, Sue.
Well, Mary's loading. I want to thank all of you for hearing the annual report on Yuba County Historical Resources Commission. I have a short presentation for you about what we've accomplished in the last almost 2 years since we've been able to do our report. David Reed is here representing not only the commission but also the Arts Council, who we have an MOU with for our funding. So,
good morning. Am I starting?
You're up.
All right. Good morning, Chairman Staff and members of the public. You all know the history. It's kind of exciting when you look back at Yuba County's history back to the 1850s, one of the original counties. And as Sue well knows, I wasn't involved, but the Historic Resources Commission was founded back in 2016 to advise the board on matters of historic importance, and I think we've maybe gone beyond that a little bit, as you'll see in our presentation. So, current membership, we're short 1 or 2 positions, but got a good active group of participants led by our chairperson, Sue Sander-Moyers. Thank you, Sue.
Sure.
Some of the projects and programs that are currently underway, I've highlighted the top 3 as maybe new since we last met. One that's brand new is the development of a Yuba County history.org website. We worked with Sean at the county. We got 3 competitive bids I'm pleased to report that the website will be developed by John Trujillo, Mustard Seed Graphics, a well-known local designer with whom we have experience. He came in well below the other two bids. After that, at some point, we haven't gotten into the planning phase. We really think it's important that Yuba County has its own history smartphone app. So we want to talk about that. But we've got a Facebook page. We want to get the website going. And we'll work on, search engine optimization. And so when people come to town, I've heard it, and I'm sure you all have too. Hey, what do I do here? What's the story on the history of Yuba County? How do I find out that information? Yeah, you can get a little bit of it at the Sutter County Museum, but we want our own over here in Yuba County. So this way, at least, they'll have access to some information. And then the Yuba County History Trail. I know there's a big project involving Lon Hadamia, but I think there's some things that we can do short-term to begin to designate historic locations in the county. So you want to talk about the assessment records project?
Sure. The assessment records is now in its 6th year, and we had a meeting with Kevin and Supervisor Blazer, and this project only needs the county's approval. We have a room. We have the staff to do it. It will cost the county nothing, and we would like for the Board of Supervisors to set aside the 2nd week in February of next year to get county legal and anybody else involved. We have the list. We have everything we need to do phase 1 to move our county assessment records. There are no copies from the basement. We call it the morgue because they're damp and dewy down there, and put them in the room at the courthouse, and then go to phase 2. How do we preserve these? How do we go through them, sort them, and see what's salvageable? It's a 3 or 4 phase project. And it's been 6 years in the waiting for the commission to get permission to do that. So Kevin and Supervisor Blazer said, let's do it in February. So we'd like you to give us permission. I have an officer from the Sheriff's Department can come and watch us because we have the list. We have everything we need. We just need you guys to give us permission to go down there and get it done. So that's our request for next year, along with a few other things.
Council, can I make a motion that we give that permission?
This is a presentation item, not an action item.
All right.
Thank you. So moving on, I have a radio show. Once a month we say, let's talk history. And so we share with the community what's going on locally and programs and everything like that. So are we going to do the whole list? Want to go through it?
Why don't you finish up this page?
Sure. We're invited to be part of the Swan Festival. Unfortunately, all of the board members were just too busy to participate, but we're making plans to be part of that next year. And so, we have the murals out here from Thompson and West, so we're going to talk about those. And also the Matthews Farm, which is the integral part of the Swan Festival where they bring all the tourists. So that will be a project we'll be working on for next year. Newspapers, when we digitalized all of the newspapers at the county library, we missed about 12 packets. And so we have been in contact with the digital company in Riverside to take those down there and get them copied. And so we're hoping that project will also be completed the first of the year.
This is just a sample of what the Yuba County History website homepage might look like. It's just a quick draft to get a graphic up in front of you. The left side is an actual image of the active Yuba County Facebook page, which is alive. It does need more constant attention, and we're going to work to, in the new year, to populate it on a more regular basis, because that's important to, of course, drive participation. But just a graphic to keep those two things in mind. This is just, again, another graphic for the future Yuba County History app, which is, I understand, a little more expensive to develop, even compared to the website. The website's going to be about $2,700, the initial phase. So with something that we can then actually change using, I guess, WordPress. That's not my area of expertise, but Gary, that's more your department. But it'll be something that we can update. So the Yuba County History app, we'll talk about that next year.
And this not only benefits tourists coming here, our local residents, but remember our 4th graders in Yuba County, they study local history, and teachers can refer them to this, of all of these things. Did you know there's over 100 existing markers and monuments and sign already in Yuba County? And so we have the complete list. We're working with the Clampers, the Native Sons, the Native Daughters, all of the historical societies, and anybody else that has monuments and even family ones to have a complete list of the existing ones. So we don't need to put up new ones. We just need to put the QR codes that tie into our website and page.
Well, and as you can see, there's no shortage of historic sites in Yuba County. These are just a few. I would say that we do hope at some point, though, there'll be some consistency in signage. Like you go to a national park, the signage is pretty consistent. You know you're in a national park. I've had the same conversation with the city of Marysville with, I'm not sure where they're at with their project, but there's that consistency factor, you know, with text, with graphics, and with the QR code. Here's an example of one we're working on right now. For Veterans Park in Marysville, QR code in the upper right-hand corner. There'll be an actor or a docent talking a little bit about veterans, the park itself, the canon, which is quite historic. Dale Whitmore is kind of leading this particular project. So we're hoping to actually get this sign placed sometime in the next month or two. It's 18 by 24, can easily be mounted with U-bolts on the existing wrought iron fence, of course, pending city approval. So.
And all of these projects that David is showing you and everything is within the funds that the Board of Supervisors has already given us, so it costs the county relatively nothing more to proceed with this project.
This is a sample. This is a sign example of one that we developed for the Mary Aaron Museum. They may be going in a different direction, but again, it shows how these can be very appealing. Again, with the QR code, very similar to what we did out at the Arboga Assembly Center Memorial Site. Each of the murals has a QR code. If you knew nothing about the internment camp experience of the Japanese American citizens during World War II, you walk around, go to these 8 murals, look at each of the QR code enabled videos, and you've got the whole history of that occurrence. Other projects and programs underway. Sue, do you want to
We've been asked by the Criddles, who is Hamilton and Gold and Marigold, the Matthews family and the Stoss family, and we've been volunteered to help the Blue Zone and through Mary Aaron Museum others to add to their historical. They do a lot of walks, and so around the levees and the whole county, we volunteered to docent that. Mark Carling is a veteran and wants to start doing our veterans all of Yuba County, and we have a complete list of those to share with you. Marysville's going to have a birthday pretty soon, and we've asked to be on the planning committee for that. The Arboga Center, where David and I have done tours out there since its completion, and we're going to add a mural of, our citizens were not held there. They were sent up to Tule Lake. We just focused on the Bush collection of our citizens, so we'll be adding a mural to that. We, of course, have probably seen the video when they came and put it on the CBS, and we had people all over the United States respond to that and give us some names and stuff. David and I have been invited to go speak to a high school college in San Francisco in the Presidio on February 28th, talking about our part in preserving the Japanese internment project out in Arboga, which is the only one in the United States. We're still trying to rehome some murals that the mall took down. These are huge murals. They're like 6 by 8, and so we're looking for a place for those. We're still looking for a home for the beautiful canvas of Lake Francis with 33 of our local merchants, which was done in the late 30s or 40s. It's really big. It's 20 by 20, so it needs a big home. And but W.T. Ellis is on there, and the mural shows Lake Francis in its infancy. So those are projects we're still working on.
So some of the accomplishments, we had done the Arboga Assembly Center. You did the dedication 10 or 12 years ago, but there was nothing there. So we were able to get the grant funding, and working with the Japanese American Citizens League in October of 2022, we had a rededication. Lots of folks came out. The JACL elders were there. It was really quite an emotional event. Sue, you've led all of these tours.
I do a lot of school tours for 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. I've done a couple for the 1st graders. So these are the ones with the totals that we've done in the past, and we'll be doing that. Of course, we always do the Donnyboro Mine, which is the only existing mine that you can actually visit in Yuba County. We always help at Smartsville. We have a display up there. I was a keynote speaker for the Oregon-California Trails West in Wheatland, which is focusing on the trail of the Donner Party. And so that's going to be a project that's going to be expanded. We're always docents at the cemetery and talk about our historical mothers and fathers. Done presentations for the Daughters of Legions, which is a group of about 200 women, so they are learning our history. We were part of the garden tour at Arboga Center again. Methodist Women's Club about Arboga again. And the Johnson's Rancho, we actually walked the trail, the Immigrant Trail, which the trail's end is here in Wheatland. And of course, it starts up in Oregon, so we're hoping to put some sort of a sign or monument. It is now private property, but it will be converted to a public use facility by the property owners in the future. And David, through the Arts Council, has an outdoor equity education program, and we were invited to do the history of Ellis Lake and W.T. Ellis. So those are some things we did.
Thank you. I'm sure you've all been out there, but just a quick image of, or series of images of the Arboga Assembly Center. I was out there just the other day, and there are actually people in the neighborhood helping us take care of it. Plus our Rotary Club is helping out with every other month doing some basic maintenance there. All these collections, Sue, that you've managed to help preserve?
Well, because we are a commission and people can find us online, people call us and they have collections or diaries and stuff. We don't have an actual museum, and so we get them and we rehome them to where they need to be. And so these are just some of the ones you know about, most all of these and everything. So we're still working on getting the assessors portfolio together and the plaque for that. We finished the district attorneys. So.
And looking to the future, the commission will certainly, as is its mandate, continue to take on a leadership role regarding Yuba County history. We've talked a little bit about collaboration. Sue mentioned Blue Zones Project. They were also part of the Ellis Lake presentation. Of course, working with Yuba-Sutter Arts and Culture. Mary Aaron Museum, Sutter County Museum, Museum of Forgotten Warriors, Friends for Preservation of Yuba County History, and other groups. That's just critical. And Sue said, hopefully that'll all load up someday to an actual Yuba County History Museum.
One thing that David didn't list on there, the Clampers have existing monuments in Yuba County, the two groups, the O'Reillys and the Bull Meek. They have 62 existing monuments, and they continue to add them. And we're hoping that this partnership continues, that when they add them, because they pay for all this in the location, is that they will put our QR code on there that we can tie that in. So we will have their past ones and their future ones.
And bringing together all these different history groups is something that's still near and dear to our heart. I feel like we're a little splintered in that regard, and I think, not that we want but to take it all over, but still getting others to appreciate the spirit of collaboration. And I think we can all do a better job of preserving the history and telling those stories together rather than individually. And we also, of course, commit to being all-inclusive in our preservation of history, as far back as our indigenous friends go to at least 10,000 years ago. These are just some of the tools we'll continue to use for sharing, promoting, marketing the history of Yuba County. It is also a component of economic development. History tourism is nothing new, along with ag tourism and arts and culture tourism. So we know you recognize that as well. Continued funding will certainly help. We thank the board for its past contributions in the amount of $5,000 per year. And just as an FYI, I didn't include a P&L, but I certainly can send that to you. There's about $11,000 still in the account, thanks to some individual donations we've received, with Yuba-Sutter Arts and Culture acting as the fiscal sponsor. We've only spent a couple $100 so far on, printing expenses and that kind of thing. So, and that money will be used to fund the web page and eventually the app. And we'll continue doing this in collaboration. Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions or comments?
Any questions from the board?
I have a comment. Excellent presentation. Thank you, John. Always enjoy it. I reached out to Jackie Solman at the Water Agency about the big mural with Lake Francis. Have you contacted her?
We went through Dee Dee Cordell.
Okay, through Dee Dee. Okay. So are they going to provide a location?
We were hoping they'd put it up in Oregon House, but the architect said that the size was too large. But they're continuing to look, and maybe they'll reconfigure it after the building's done, or they may have an additional building or something, because it's a perfect location for it. Yeah. And maybe even Alcove Center, because they have the wall space. It's very large.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair. Anytime there's any strategic planning for Yuba County, Marysville, et cetera, the first word is always history.
Yes.
And
And it should be.
It's history. So we're just really fortunate that we have your group that can keep pulling it together. So thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Could I ask one more thing?
Sure.
Do you guys have a regular meeting schedule?
Yes, it's on there. We meet the second Wednesday at the gallery at the Yuba-Sutter and Arts Culture Club, 624 D Street. Got it? No, E Street, sorry. And so we meet there, and unless there's somebody in the gallery, and then we.
What is it, second Wednesday?
Second Wednesday, we have Zoom meetings for some of our members that can't drive in, and so it's
We're back
available.
to in-person, 5:30. We'll
Yeah,
be there tomorrow.
5:30. Yeah, we'll be there tomorrow.
Gary?
Amazing presentation, great list of things that you guys are doing. Thank you for coming and sharing. One more thing to maybe add to that long list that's already on your plate. You mentioned the 175th birthday for Marysville. Wheatland has a 150th birthday coming up, and they are actively planning that. Yeah. So in the spirit of partnership, you might reach out to Vice Mayor Robert Coe and speak with him about that. I think he's kind of leading up a lot of those efforts to see how you can be plugged into that as well.
Bob was on the commission for a while, and Pat Cameron.
Pam Shelton. And yes, there's actually a void there, and I should reach out to Mayor West. He's still, I know him.
Thank you. Great
various
idea.
events, but they've been a little remiss as far as attendance. So Pam had actually resigned, I think. So we'll prod them to maybe get back involved. But Pat Camarena is on the commission, and she runs the Wheatland Historic Society. So
And the museum. So
yeah.
we'll speak to her about it tomorrow night. Thank you.
Great presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm proudly wearing my Volunteer of the Year, and I have my ever-ready bunny at home to remind me how much you all appreciate us. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. Do we have from the Jenna McKay Foundation here? Thank you. Wow.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you, John, for helping me set this up. For those that don't know me, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Jenna McKay. I'm the founder of the Jenna McKay Foundation. A little bit about the work I do. I work with the United Nations Global Strategic Operatives Team, and we train hospitals, not just nationally, but internationally, on how to identify victims of human trafficking and how to respond to them with trauma-informed, victim-centered care. I'm on the board for the New York team, Cycling for Change, out of Northwell Health. It's one of the biggest hospitals. They employ 80,000. And I'm also on the board for Worthy Ranch in Montana that does anti-trafficking work and provides equine therapy and housing for victims. I consult organizations around the country, and I train law enforcement, hospitals, fire departments, and other first responders how to identify and respond to not just sex trafficking, but labor trafficking. I work with the California District Attorneys Association, and we just released a documentary on domestic violence. And I work with Senator Shannon Grove. We just passed SB 14. It took about 2 years, but that is to make trafficking of minors a serious felony in the state of California and a strikeable offense, so harsher penalties for traffickers. And we're working to make that for all aged victims in this next coming year. I'm also a survivor of human trafficking. I survived it 18 years ago. In Southern California, where I grew up. Wasn't your typical somebody that you would picture to become a victim. Dad's a farmer, mom's a teacher. I grew up in a private school, and I was headed to play college volleyball when I was lured out of my school and trafficked right there in my community. So I also know firsthand what victims experience and the lifetime recovery it takes and what is needed by a community to make sure that they reach their full potential and get the resources and services that they need. I've been doing the work here in this community for 8 years. I've responded to victims. I've gotten them equine therapy. I've connected them to law enforcement. I work with Sheriff Barnes. I've trained the sheriff department over there in Sutter. I work with Detective Rounds of the Yuba City Police Department. And there's some improvements over there in Sutter County, still a lot of work to do. But I've really noticed, I'm busy in other states, as you've just heard, but Yuba County has a long way to go as far as responding to victims. And it's important because I'm not talking about sunshine and rainbows over here. I'm talking about children being sold for sex and buyers in our community purchasing them for sex, raping them. And as you can imagine, the lifelong damage physically and mentally. Sometimes when I've come forth to offer the training that I have and those that I've trained with, like the Orange County Human Trafficking Task Force, who's probably one of the best in the country, I've heard a lot of excuses. Well, we don't have the budget. Well, we don't have the time. Or, oh, we've had that training 2 years ago. Or we have people training about it that haven't even been trained themselves. That's a real problem because they're actually spreading misinformation about trafficking, and then it leads to nothing. I want to give a quick couple of examples. I was recently in a car accident, unfortunately, 2 weeks ago with my son, and I was taken to the emergency room. I was T-boned, and I already have complex PTSD from my trafficking experience, and I have coccydynia on my tailbone from when I was trafficked, which was diagnosed by a doctor in Sacramento. And that ER visit, I wasn't there as Jenna McKay, the advocate. I was there as a victim of a car crash with my son, who's now 13. But I was very aware of what was going on around me. And I was it's hard for me to disassociate from my work most times. And the ER doctor was great. I told her right away, complex PTSD, don't touch me unless you're trauma-informed. You'll trigger me. She was calm and handled it well. But then the nurse was almost irritated by my reaction to the car accident. I was kidnapped, kind of put your boots on, toughen up, lady. Well, I am tough, but in that moment I was shaken up, right? My PTSD was triggered. Now, I'm okay, I can handle that. But if a victim was in that emergency department, most likely she would be fearful of coming forward with her abuse because she's basically competing with her trauma and she'll feel less than, oh, my trauma does not matter as much, right? I don't care. I share that because that shows the lack of being trauma-informed, not just to human trafficking, but to anybody in crisis. There's been times where I've tried to place victims at shelters here, where I've been told, no, we won't take her for various reasons. I work with the YWCA in Monterey County, and they have a domestic violence shelter and a human trafficking safe house, and it's really important to have them separately. While there's similarities between the two traumas, it's very different. It's a very, very different healing journey. So somebody that survives domestic violence is usually a victim of one perpetrator. Human trafficking, they often have different traffickers. They're trafficked with other children and other women. It's labor trafficking, other men as well, and boys. And so it's just two separate healing journeys. And over there, they have a safe house that it's a year-long program, and I've flown to Riverside County and picked up girls that have been trafficked since they were 11. I've met them at 21. They're branded, they're beaten, they're bruised. They've been in the life since they were 11 years old. And the first 6 months of that program is all different kinds of therapy, understanding what kind of trafficking they survived, familial trafficking, some were trafficked by their parents. And then the second 6 months of that program is getting them back into society. So continued healing, but also what are your dreams? What are your goals? How do you set up a bank account? How do you get a GED? How do you get life skills? How do you raise your children without passing on the trauma? And it works. They graduate from that program. They have apartments and cars and healthy families, and that's the goal, right? We don't want to just, oh, the victim's out of the situation and she's good, we'll pass her on and wish you the best. That's not progress. That's not acceptable. And so when I bring a girl to our local domestic violence shelter and they tell me that, well, she hasn't survived abuse in 24 hours, so we can't take her. So where do I put her? Do I get her a gym membership so she can get a shower and feel safe for a little while? Do I transfer her to another county in the middle of the night? Where do I put her where she's not going to be safe from her trafficker? Do I take her outside and punch her so that she's survived abuse and they can take her in? These are issues and concerns. If I have a girl in the domestic violence shelter and I pick her up and take her to an appointment, and I say, how's it going in there? And they say, well, I don't really like how they wake me up. They touch my shoulder. This is common sense. These are women that have survived abuse, rape, being sold, branded, separated from their families, coerced, doing things that they don't want to do. They are victims of a crime. They are not choosing it. And to wake them up, starting their day with trauma, how do we expect them to succeed? I've had schools, I've trained the Marysville School District. I hire survivors to give them opportunities to share and educate. But I have had, last year I had a teacher at Marysville High School, and he said, I'm supposed to talk about human trafficking, but I don't know what to teach the students about. I don't even know anything about it myself. So I go in there and I talk to the kids about human trafficking, and as usual, most of them don't know. Or I ask them, hey, what's human trafficking? And they say, it's where you're kidnapped and sold overseas, like the movie Taken. So we're failing our students if we're expecting our educators to teach them when they don't know about human trafficking themselves. I work with a great organization called 3 Strands Global, and we can come in and train and have survivors come and train and share. And that's a prevention tool to make sure that our kids aren't exploited. And not just as victims, but not to become buyers and traffickers. As I mentioned, the Orange County Human Trafficking Task Force, I would love to bring that team with me up here. It's a 3-day training. I do have an appointment tomorrow with Chief Sachs, and I have talked to Sheriff Barnes about it. It's the best law enforcement training you'll ever see, and it's needed. And to deny that training for lack of resources or budget is to deny victims the right to be found and to be rescued and to be rehabilitated back into the community, into society, and their children as well. I've been there at hospitals when the victims have had their babies and they have no resources. There's no childcare, or they're not sure what is their connections and their options, and this community is lacking in a few things. And I say this as an advocate and a survivor, but I also say this as a mother raising my 13-year-old son in this community. I hope for better. And I love this community. My grandpa's 99. He's been here forever. He's a farmer out in Hallwood. I grew up visiting here every summer. I moved here to do this work and to raise my son here. But I find myself going to other states and other counties because we're further along than Human Trafficking 101. And we should, after 8 years being here, be further along. And so we have another presentation. I put on 3 public events this year, one at Yuba College, one was held at Adventure Church in Yuba City, and I held one in Sacramento. Awareness is the first step. We can talk about it all day long. The next is being educated, getting the trainings, actually understanding the problem and what to do. But both of those things don't matter if there's not action. So I appreciate you listening to me, and I'm happy to answer any questions or any concerns.
Any questions from the board? Go ahead. Don.
I don't have a question, but that was a powerful presentation. It's important that you bring these things to light for us because we have so many things that are swirling around us. So that'll help us try to get focused. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead.
I have a question. So you mentioned Yuba City and Sutter County, but you haven't done any training with Yuba County? And
No.
you're in Marysville, Chief
Yeah.
Sachs. You're meeting with Chief Sachs tomorrow?
I did meet with Mr. Anderson, but that was, then the pandemic happened and it kind of made delays. So I'd love to, and I can do that. I can schedule a meeting with him and hopefully get that done. But I'd love to get into this community and collaborate more. I'm working with the Yuba County Office of Ed on an event. January 8th is our big opening, and I hope to see you all there. And it's a whole week of education and training and talking about it.
Okay. Any further questions? I was in Oakland for your presentation back about 2010, I think it was, somewhere in that area. I was frustrated because there's no reason for us being as high on the list of abuses, and I'm not going to be chair next year, but I hope to get a ad hoc committee going up, and what we'll do is, instead of reinventing the wheel, we'll probably take and let you tell us how to lay something out that will come out of the gate effective, and I'll get involved a lot with that. So thank you very much. I didn't realize that you were having problems out here, so thank you very much for coming. All right, any questions from the public? Okay. All right, Jenna, thank you. We'll be seeing you. Thank you. Okay. Public communication. Who do we have for public communication? Tom.
Any person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and is not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication shall be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. And through the chair, we do have 3 cards. The first one we have is Tony Farley.
I think we save you a spot at the beginning of every meeting.
Hello, Tony Farley from Sutter County, South City. Here, thank the sheriff department for his service. Thank, of course, Rachel for her service. Thank Tony over there for his service. Thank the county employees. Thank David Valentine over there, very nice guy. Thank you, Lieutenant, for Lieutenant. Big tall Captain Heather from Animal Control and Female Lieutenant. Thank you, Thomas over there. Thank you, lawyer, best lawyer ever. Thank you, county administrator. Thank you, Andy Vasquez, District 1. John Misk, District 5. Gary Bradford, District 4. Seth 4, District 3, right? And Dawn Blazer, District 1. District 2. Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks. All right.
Second person we have is Tom McWhorter.
Good morning, Yuba County Board of Supervisors. My name is Tom McWhorter. I live in Olivehurst, and welcome back. Hey, I got a quick email last Thursday night saying that Yuba County was a recipient of a grant to the tune of $48 million for transportation. The question is, though, are we going to finish the original intent for me to come up here was to get the drainage ditches cleaned in Olivehurst. And of course, you know, the optimum solution would be sidewalks, curbs, and gutters, and various arguments against that, but we will prevail. The question I have, though, as I was reading it, is that there was a $20 million loan, I believe, from the water agency, and apparently the grant was for 48. The 20 was apparently going to cover 20, so the grant, I guess we were guessing on 28. Now what are you going to do with the leftover? And especially since Baugh didn't make the street or the list of streets, hey, what are you going to do with that 20 million? Just let it sit there? Why? When we're spending my resources and my fellow residents' resources on a 1-acre piece of land. Sure, we're putting a request for a quote out there for someone else to develop it and operate it, but it's still our office staff is having to put this information out there for the request and answers, and so it's kind of like, hey, you know, not another new project until sidewalks, curbs, and gutters line Olivehurst completely. You know, my road, Baugh, I lived there almost 32 years, okay? I'm not going anywhere. I live here. I got my papers. I'll be proud to show you how I ended up here, okay? But not 1 millimeter of asphalt has been laid on my road. And I bet you it's been 42 years. So I really think that that $20 million that is left over, obviously it's sitting there, somebody's licking their chops, and I'm saying, hey, number one here, I don't want to hear number 3 or 10 or 200th on the project list. We've been waiting for 68 years. Time is over. Please get Ball Street on that list. I don't know if were there any public meetings on which streets to be included on that list. Anyway, thank you for your time and have a nice week.
Thank you, Tom. All right. Third card we have is, I'm not really sure, it looks like Rachel Ferrer. Farrell.
Bad handwriting goes with my territory. I'm Rachel Farrell. I'm the CEO of Harmony Health. We're a federally qualified health center with 2 clinics in Yuba City, 2 clinics in Linda, 1 in Wheatland, and a clinic on wheels that goes out to Camptonville and the most hard-to-reach areas and populations in the county. We represent about 5,000 patients, and Ben Flores, the president and CEO of AMPA, is also here, and they represent about 15,000. So I understand.
Can you step a little closer to the mic, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
We understood that there was going to be a vote for a Yuba County representative on the partnership board today, and I just wanted to voice my disappointment that no stakeholders meeting was held in advance. This is the second time that this has happened with partnership, the first being when it was decided without a stakeholders meeting that they would be the managed care, replacing both Anthem and California Health and Wellness. I'm not opposed to partnership, but we had no say in it. And after Ben and I raised a bunch of noise about it, they held a stakeholders meeting after the fact. So I'm here to ask that we hold a stakeholders meeting to determine who should represent us on the partnership board, and that the stakeholders would include not only the community health centers and the people who are caring for the patients who will have the partnership insurance, the Medi-Cal patients, but also the consumers, the patients themselves. Our boards of directors have to, it's mandated that we have a majority of patients on the board as the stakeholders of the clinics. And I think that they need to be involved. We all need to be involved in making this decision. It says nothing against Dr. Liu, but this isn't really a position for public health per se. I don't think she knows how far the closest gastroenterologist is that we have to refer patients to, which is Lodi, or how many weeks it takes to get a referral, or how many prior authorizations we have to go through. The pains of, working with managed care. We haven't been paid from Anthem for more than a year. There are a lot of, issues that we face that I don't think public health is aware of. And so I would ask that you guys hold a stakeholders meeting and let us get involved in choosing someone who we really feel can represent the interests of our patients on the partnership board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment?
No more cards.
Okay. All right. That being said, we're going to go to county departments, and we're going to take item 616 as the first item, which is the Department of Public Works Melton Design Group for designing the Friendship Park beautification project. Yeah. All right. before we get started, apparently you got 2 grants, not 1, on that. Thank Dan Peterson for a lot of that. Was it $5,880,000?
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Between the two.
Not bad for a little county.
Yeah, not bad at all. We're excited. Good morning, Chair. Members of the board, good morning. Members of the public, good morning. I'm Nicholas Clavel, Parks and Landscape Coordinator with Public Works. So a good place to start is the setting of this project. That's Friendship Park. It's on Alicia Avenue between Alicia and Cottonwood. It's 22 acres in total. I just have some kind of interesting pictures of the park in its existing condition. Only about a third of the park is developed. It features a cottonwood grove and drainage ditch. Unfortunately, it's also seen a lot of abuse and vandalism, which really demonstrates a need for renovation to serve the public, not only for the community of West Linda, which is an underserved community with a median household income of just over $29,000, but also the Yuba County community as a whole and the park system as a whole, with this being the only community park in West Linda, and also the local Hmong community, which has created over time since the 80s up to a almost 7-acre community garden. It was arranged in a formal agreement many years ago and has informally grown over time. Their needs specifically, aside from just staying in place, is water. Right now they have municipal water, and part of this project is to bring in well water for a more responsible and sustainable water source. So the park actually is going to retain the community garden built by the Hmong community. In fact, it'll enhance and preserve this amazing cultural landmark. How this is done, through the grant funding that you mentioned, between the Caltrans Urban Greening Grant and the Clean California Grant, like you said, roughly $5.9 million renovation for this site. The funds will be used to provide a safer community environment by enabling residents to utilize the space. So we will take all 22 acres from this, which isn't bad. There's some good and there's some bad, to hopefully something like this. And so this is a conceptual design that was used to solicit a bid for engineering and construction support services. We are targeting to have 6,000 feet of ADA accessible walkways and bike paths. Safety lighting will be added, shade structures, 2 pavilion areas with picnic tables and barbecues, new play areas, irrigation, drought-tolerant landscaping, of course, my favorite, lots and lots of trees, new parking lot, pave an existing parking lot, new BMX track, new pickleball courts, rehab basketball courts, and the skate park area, and decorative fencing, plus some extra fun little things, and we'll see as we go into a final design what that looks like. So a lot added and enhanced, and of course there's some elements that are retained. The county staff had a solicitation to procure the contract for engineering and construction support services through an RFP. 3 responsive bidders submitted proposals. These were by a panel ranked and scored. The highest ranking candidate bidder was Melton Design Group, otherwise known as MDG. They not only ranked the highest with the selection panel, But they also created this conceptual design. They were commissioned early on in the project. So we already have a glimpse of their vision and inspiration. We are happy, staff is happy that the panel selection has also reflects our previous experience with them, just being a very positive and visionary group, very easy to work with. Staff has the utmost faith in their abilities and their qualifications, but also their ability to execute a vision that is not just a cookie cutter park, but really an informal community center that reflects the culture and history of Yuba County. This design phase is going to be roughly $565,000 of that $5 million grant. With that, Chair, staff recommends award approval for the professional services agreement for engineering and construction support services to Melton Design Group, otherwise known as MDG. With that, I'd like to open it up to comments and questions. I should mention Aubrey Hendricks from Melton Design Group is also here, and she can, if you want any comments for her or myself, questions as well. I didn't check ahead of time, but former Director of Public Works Dan Peterson, who attained the grants for the county, is also here, so he can tell us no, but he may be able to answer some questions.
Are there questions from the board? Let's start, Mr. Blazer.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Hello.
I understood there's going to be an area that's going to have some attention to the Hmong community, maybe historically. Do you know much about that, or can you expand on that?
Well, so the 7-acre portion, which is that kind of the light green area, roughly 7 acres, is going to be retained, and it'll somewhat be still self-governed by them. We are looking into commissioning, perhaps partnering with the Arts Council or some other means to do something that's culturally significant to enhance the space and kind of more formalize the borders and improve fencing and things like that. But nothing yet has been identified, not specifically.
Yeah, because the Broadway installation down there on the internment assembly area, that's kind of inspirational, and we were thinking something not on that scale, but something along that line.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
So on the same lines as Don,
Sure,
my question,
go ahead.
through the chair, my question is, will the Hmong farmers still be able to farm out there? And you know, I'm sure some of them rely on that.
Yes, definitely.
So that will still be a farming area?
Yes, that is a big goal from the beginning of this project to allow them to continue. We're going to create a new formalized agreement with the community. Also, we're hoping to save them some money. Buying 7 acres worth of farmland water is pretty expensive from a municipal source. So the well water will hopefully save them some money, and there'll be a lease agreement for cost recovery on the power and things like that for pumping.
Okay. Thank you.
Seth?
Along the same lines, actually, I would like to even go more than what we have for the Arboga Internment Camp Monument. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Chinese gardens down in the San Francisco area, but that's a beautiful little touristy location. And I was speaking with some of the Hmong representatives, and water was, of course, brought up as one of the issues, and then security for the food, which you mentioned, fencing.
Yes.
So those are 2 issues. But with those, if we could do something where we were to elevate this to a more cultural than just a plaque, but to actually have that type of feel that they have for the Chinese garden, I would love to see something like that.
Yeah,
so if I can
excellent idea.
Ask that we move forward in that direction to go much, much further, that would be great. I am curious, you mentioned that there was some graffiti and security issues previously with the park. How are those going to not be a recurring issue in the new situation?
Well, we're kind of, if you build it, they will come method here. We really want to get both community buy-in Studies show that the more parks are utilized by the public, by the people that's built for, families, folks of all ages, that kind of that trouble is naturally pushed out. In addition to that, Public Works wants to partner with the Sheriff's Department and just have get their enthusiasm on the project as well and get some support there.
So obviously a lot of our parks suffer from abuse by different groups in our population, whether it's idle hands of, after school or it's homeless encampments. We have the strategy is simply going to be that we're using it a lot, and so those people won't be there.
Yes and no. I mean, yes, that's part of it. I think some of that over the next several years through construction will be sussed out a little more. The thing with the deadlines on the grants is there's kind of this rapid put it together and you come up with as much as you can. Part of the design is also to cater to that. Through the spine of the park, we're going to widen the paving there to allow for access. So whether that's Public Works maintenance trucks or county sheriff. We're also increasing lighting. The park is virtually undeveloped, so it kind of looks like an abandoned space, even though it's county land. So with a developed space comes a little bit of that community ownership, as well as some lighting that will make it enforcement a little easier.
All right. Excellent. I'm super excited about the park remodel, so thank you so much for what you guys are bringing to us.
So what Seth brought up is a very common question from the citizens. They like the concept, but the very first thing they say is it going to be maintained and not destroyed? And so that's high on the list.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely valid points. Speaking directly to the public, I really would invite them to take ownership, become invested in their space. Maybe there have been in the past, and maybe we can continue to have things like community cleanups. Definitely, the more the space is utilized, the less that abuse happens. Right. There's some social accountability that happens.
Yeah,
Don will do through the chair. Okay, we'll let some other people talk here for a second, but Gary,
I'm good.
You're good. I have a question. Is there a way to have an ordinance that comes to our parks that puts some stiff fines on this stuff for people who do destroy things?
I'm sorry, I go ahead. I just had trouble hearing.
That wouldn't be a portion of the development. That would be an ordinance that we would put in place with the Sheriff's Department, County Council, and the board.
I would like to see something that includes the parents are responsible for what their children do. That skate park was pretty good for a while, and then it got destroyed. So, all right, Don, anything further? Okay. All right. I'll enter. Any comments from the public? Bring back the board for a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Measure passes. Right. Thank you very much. All right. All right. Next item is 410, Community Development, approve agreement for Olivehurst roadway climate resiliency. That's a mouthful. I understand, but I just mentioned it, so the sheriff has a pre-warning here. Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and fellow board members. Mike Lee with Community Development. So I'm excited to be before your board this morning to present this item. I guess it was last week, the CTC took formal action to award a $48+ million grant to Yuba County for our Olivehurst Resiliency Project. This was through the Local Transportation Climate Adaptation Program. This is going to be the largest drainage and transportation infrastructure project that Yuba County has undertaken to the best of our knowledge. So we pulled up a map here to just a visual, gives you a better idea of what the magnitude of this project is. We're essentially going to be modernizing and upgrading the drainage and transportation or the road infrastructure of essentially half of the community of Olivehurst. On the figure in front of you, it's all of the green highlighted roads are part of the project. So with that, 48 million. So then the funding that there was a criteria with the funding that it was state-only funding, which is nice because there's less requirements than the federal funds. But with that came a strict timeline on completion of design and getting the project ready to go to construction. So essentially we have a year and a half to get this design construct. Extremely aggressive timeline. So with that, when CTC, God, it's a mouthful, sorry, CTC staff recommendations came out a few weeks back, we decided to move forward with our request for proposal for design services just to get a month or two jump on the timeline in anticipation of this the strict timeline. So we solicited RFPs. We received two. The staff reviewed and ranked the proposals, and Dock and Engineering was selected as the top candidate. The formal contract with the CTC has not been executed, so we will be proceeding using local funds at this juncture to kickstart the design. We anticipate that contract to be formally executed in the next 6 weeks, let's say. So there will be a small amount of local dollars spent, but again, we feel we need that extra time to be able to meet our deadlines. The contract amount for design and construction support services is $2.64 million. This is going to be targeting 5 miles of roadways in the community of Olivehurst. So again, very exciting. It's really going to transform the whole community. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions to the board?
Through the chair. So how much, oh, I'm sorry, Don. Go ahead.
That's all right. Just clarify, class 3 bike route is exactly what compared to the other classes?
The class 3, I think, is the shared with the vehicles. You know, you'll see the sharrows sometimes. When there's not enough right-of-way to provide the full dedicated bike lane.
Yeah, I assume there's probably not a lot of space for a dedicated bike lane, but there is a class, these are class 3, which is shared, right?
Yes, so it's a mixture, depending on the existing right-of-way. We wanted to stay within the existing right-of-way as much as possible because the project of this magnitude, if we had to acquire right-of-way from each property, the project could drag on for years.
And probably a high percentage of the actual bicyclists are kids, probably recreation and going to school.
A lot of kids going to school, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, thanks.
All right. So through the chair, how much are we going to have to approve locally to get it jump-started? And will that be reimbursed once the grant money comes in?
It will not be reimbursed from the grant. We were successful. Well, there was a local match of approximately $10 million that the water agency authorized for this project. We were very fortunate in the CTC allocated the entire funding for the project. So that 10 million won't be technically needed as a local match. So we were going to utilize a small portion of that for the local funds to kickstart this.
Okay. That was the second part of my question. Can we use
Yeah.
Water agency.
So the formal contract will probably likely only be about 6 weeks out. The amount of funds expended by the design consultant in that time frame won't be tremendously significant. I would say $100,000 or less.
Okay, any further questions?
Yes, so I'd like to express, of course, my super level of excitement.
You're the chair.
Califragilisticexpialidocious level of excitement for this. This is fantastic. With the 100% funding of the grant request, and 1/3 of it being stormwater drainage, I understand that we're going to be using the 9 million largely to facilitate other aspects of the funding of the project and make it go through. But is it going to be possible to expand it even further, or no, we're locked into this map footprint right now, or we can use, because of the way the funding is working and they funded the stormwater drainage, we can then move some of that money that they use to fund stormwater drainage from the state to more sidewalks and use the 9 million to do stormwater drainage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand your question, yes. So our thinking at this point was to, again, we'll use some of the funds to kickstart the project before eligible costs.
Sure.
Secondly, we want to retain some of that funding for cost overruns. As you know,
sure.
Typically construction costs go through the roof as time progresses. The actual scope of the project is defined, so we can't change it per se for this project. Whether you could create another project using those funds is another question or story. But we can't modify the scope of the project as it stands.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any further questions from the board?
I will so move.
Any comments from the public?
I did have one more question, or one question, one comment
Okay,
through the chair. When do they estimate the completion of this?
So if we hit our target milestone of authorization for construction, that would be June of 25. It would likely kick into construction, I would speculate, in spring of 26. And it would, I don't know that, we don't have an estimate of how long the construction will take yet, but I'm sure it'll be at least a year or two. So let's say kickstart construction in spring of 26.
Okay, and then my comment was just thank Dan Peterson, who's
Yep,
in the audience.
I was just about to say a big shout out to Dan for aggressively pursuing this and securing the funding for Yuba County. It is truly tremendous. An agency of this size to get this amount of funding is amazing.
Now that you've mentioned Mr. Peterson, I'm a little amiss not bringing him up here and telling him thanks for the 2 out of 3 ain't bad on the exit. If you'd like to say a few words, I would really appreciate it, because you're the reason for the season here. Dan?
Well, thank you, Supervisor Vasquez, members of the Board of Supervisors. Dan Peterson, retired Director of Public Works. Last grant application prepared before I retired, so it's really exciting to get this. And once again, as we had discussed previously, this project is the poster child for what the state wanted, which is, I believe, one of the big reasons the CTC waived the local cost share, which is amazing. I'd never seen that happen before. The state wanted a climate change project, and because of the already occurring issues with drainage, the frequent localized flooding, we had 36 instances of localized flooding in the project area in 2022 alone. So that just illustrates the need for this project. And using the state's climate models, we're anticipating close to a 15% increase in peak flows, which means that the localized flooding is only going to increase in severity, frequency, and the number of areas where it's going to occur. This project also incorporates a number of other aspects, such as putting in the sidewalks and putting in the bicycle facilities, repaving the roads once we're done tearing them up to put in the storm drains, and then putting in new signage, striping, ADA compliant ramps, crosswalks, this is truly a comprehensive complete streets project, and it's going to transform over a third of the community of Olivehurst. So it's really, really exciting for everybody in Public Works. And I have to reiterate, yes, I wrote the grant application, but this was a huge team effort. And it goes from the support from the county administrator, who let me loose to go after a project of this size, which was somewhat audacious, the support from the board, the support from the Yuba-Water Agency. Without the grant, the local cost share offered by the Yuba-Water Agency, we would not even have been able to submit this application. So the fact that they were willing to put forward that money as leveraging funds is huge for this project. So I have to say thank you to everybody. This is like a dream come true.
Well, that was a great trick. It was at three-ring. I don't know what the sports analogy on that is, but thank you very much, Dan. It was quite an accomplishment to go out on. Thank you. All right. At that point in time, what we're going to do is, you made the motion. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks again, Dan. Thank you very much.
More to come.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Sorry. All right. Item 614. Sheriff Corner. Authorize Sheriff Corner to accept allocated funds from the California Department of Health Care Services.
Good morning.
Just one of you?
For now.
You brought backup.
Thank you, Chairman Vasquez and members of the board. I'm Lieutenant Susan Jensen, and I'm here on behalf of Sheriff Anderson and the Sheriff's Department. I'm here to give you a presentation on the grant funding for the Justice Involved Initiative. On January 23rd, 2023, the Department of Healthcare Services, DHCS, received federal approval under its California Advancing and Innovating Medi-Cal, also known as CalAIM, 1115 demonstration for providing access and transforming health path, capacity, building funds to support the Justice Involved Reentry Initiative. The demonstration's goal is to build a bridge to community-based care for the Justice-Involved Medi-Cal members, offering them services up to 90 days prior to their release to stabilize their health condition and establish a plan for their community-based care, collectively referred to as pre-release services. The Yuba County Jail has been allocated $3.5 million for the 3-year term of this funding. California Statute AB 133 mandated counties to implement all of the following components for their correctional facility no earlier than April 1st, 2024, and no later than March 2026. Number 1, screen inmates who need more specific clinical criteria in the 90 days prior to reentry to stabilize their health, assess their health, social, and economic needs, and provide intensive care management to prepare for a successful reentry into the community. Examples of that specific clinical criteria include those who are pregnant, chronically ill, or have behavioral health needs. We've already begun to implement this with screening questions at the time of intake. Number 2, provide warm handoffs to health care providers to ensure that inmates who require behavioral and other health care services, medications, and other medical equipment, for example, a wheelchair, have what they need upon reentry. Number 3, offer intensive community-based care for coordination for the individual at reentry, including through enhanced care management when eligible. Number 4, make community supporters, such as housing or food support, available upon reentry if offered by their managed care plan. And number 5, provide funding to build capacity for workforce, technology changes, data sharing, and infrastructure to support justice-involved initiatives. These components are complex and require coordination across multiple stakeholders, including the jail, Tri-County Detention Center, WellPath, which is our contracted medical provider, Health and Human Services, Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health, community-based organizations, and Medi-Cal managed care plans. This will also require the assessment and development of effective and efficient processes protocols, and evaluations to facilitate adequate medical and behavioral screenings, electronic health record documentation, data sharing, care coordination, and selection of an entity to bill Medi-Cal for 90-day pre-release services. At the Board of Supervisor meeting held on October 24, 2023, your board approved Agenda Item 527, 2023, allowing Health and Human Service Department to accept allocated funds from the California Department of Public Health for the California Strengthening Public Health Initiative. Health and Human Services Department intends to utilize this funding to support a project manager position to lead the Cal-AIM justice-involved implementation for the Yuba County Jail and Tri-County Detention Center as stipulated by California Statute AB 133. A project manager funded by the California Strengthening Public Health Initiative funding would allow Yuba County to implement a whole-person care approach, not only to fulfill the state statute of AB 133, but also to address the underlying drivers of health for the incarcerated population of our county. During the fiscal year of 2023 and 2024, the projected cost for this is $2,515,454. During the fiscal year of 2024 and 2025 through fiscal year of 2025 and 2026, the projected cost is $1,209,546. The total projected cost over a 3-year term is $3,725,000. The source of funds over the 3-year term is as follows: $3,500,000 from the California Department of Health Care Services for the implementation of Cal-AIM, $168,306 from the 106 Health Services Fund, and $81,694 from the Public Safety Fund. Based on the above fiscal impact, we're requesting for new appropriations in the total amount of $2,515,454 per the budget adjustment. We're expecting to receive 70% of the $3.5 million grant this fiscal year. This request is being brought to your board for consideration as the first 10% of the allocated fund will be received from the state of California imminently. In consideration of the above, we recommend the board authorize the sheriff to accept allocated funds from the California Department of Health Care Services PATH Justice Involved Planning and Capacity Building Program grant, request the board to approve a limited term project manager allocation, and request the board to approve the budget adjustment to implement the requirements. If you have any questions, I'll attempt to answer it. Also, request the board to approve the budget adjustment to implement the requirements. If you have any questions, I'll attempt to answer it. Also, Dr. Liu is here, and I may call her up because she is our subject matter expert on this.
Okay, any questions from the board? No questions?
I guess I have just a little bit of clarification. So this
Through
is
the
gonna
chair works real good.
Through the chair.
Thank you.
The $3 million, it's going to be front-loaded, obviously, that there's more cost up front, which is why we're spending $2 million at the beginning in the first year. And this is all new money for new services that have not been provided in the past. Is both of those things accurate?
So we have a $3.5 million grant that we received on it, and we're asking for a budget adjustment in the amount of the 2 that you said.
And this is all for new services that have not been provided before?
That is correct. It's part of a Cal-AIM initiative that was part of a requirement that the state is putting on the local jails to provide. It has more to do with the care that they receive post-release.
And so prior to this, they were receiving medical care while they were incarcerated, and then they would go through the normal system of enrolling in Medi-Cal and getting services once they left. And this is just going to bridge that gap.
That is correct.
Okay. And then of that $2 million that we're going to spend that first year, can you give me like an idea of like what the largest percentage of expenditure is? What's the big price tag on this?
So a lot of our price tag of what we're looking at is we're having to implement a whole program for it, including infrastructure for our IT department. We're setting up offices. We're bringing in a program manager. And that's going to be a large portion of what we're starting with the implementation.
I would just add that WellPass will need to augment the electronic health record, so they already flagged for us that there'll be a proposal from them in terms of that charge.
Okay. So, and just again, so I understand the process, in the past, what was the huge gap that this is fixing from when they left incarceration to when they got a Medi-Cal? Because my understanding from Health and Human Services, we have emergency Medi-Cal. People have programs. If they go to the emergency room, they're going to get taken care of regardless. So I'm curious what problem we're fixing with the $3 million.
We're fixing a huge problem. This is actually first in the nation approval from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to California on this 1115 waiver demonstration. So right now, what happens is that a federal law through the 1965 Social Security Act requires that we have to pause all Medi-Cal insurance coverage while the inmate is incarcerated, so in the county jail. So we cannot bill for any medical, clinical services or coordination of care services. So this waiver allows us to bill up to 90 days of their incarceration while they're incarcerated. And think of it as like when you are in the hospital and you need to do discharge planning. You're just diagnosed with high blood pressure. You need to be started on Suboxone for your substance use disorder. So all of those will now, hopefully, by the time we successfully start the implementation of CalAIM within the Yuba County Jail and the Tri-County Detention Facility, will be billable. In addition, there'll be an in-reach provider that as of yet has not been identified who will come in and be that targeted case manager, that enhanced case manager, so ECM services. So we'll go back to that example. If you have an individual who started on Suboxone and they need to be linked to a federally qualified health center to continue their Suboxone treatment, so that in-reach provider will say, let's make you an appointment at that FQHC. Let's make sure you have 7 days worth of Suboxone, because one of the highest risks for death and mortality is actually right after release. So we want to make sure you have enough medication of Suboxone until you can see your new FQHC Suboxone provider. This is very, very exciting. California is leading the nation in this, and we're very excited to work alongside the Sheriff Department, the Probation Department, and also Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health, Medi-Cal Managed Care Plans, and our community-based organizations to implement this.
Thank you, thank you. Something you mentioned, make sure I understood it. We have not been able to bill prior the 90 days. We're going to now be able to bill the 90 days. Do we have a projection on what that income would create for us?
We do not know that because everything is predicated on inmates' willingness to agree to be enrolled in Medi-Cal. We cannot compel inmates to agree to apply for Medi-Cal. Okay. And nothing can start until they are enrolled in Medi-Cal and a Medi-Cal aid code is activated through the Department of Healthcare Services.
So it may or may not create income for us.
It will create income, but in terms of the amount, it is as yet to be projected based on the willingness of inmates to agree to Medi-Cal enrollment.
Okay. So the cost of the $2 million this year is almost all just administrative setup?
It's not just administrative. A lot of it can be to technology enhancement, also space. We will need to, in terms of the Yuba County Jail, create space for the in-reach provider, create space for Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health to provide coordination of care for severe mental illness and substance use disorder. There's the project manager who has just recently started and is assisting with the coordination for all of these tasks.
Thank you.
All right. Gary? John? Okay. Any comments from the public? All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those do we need roll call? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now we're going to make a slight adjustment. We're going to have a 5-minute break here for the board. So we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties.
Here, as soon as we get Mary. Where'd Mary go? Okay. Please. All right. As soon as we're recording, you let me know. There she is. Okay. All right. We're recording now. We'll go to 625, Community Development and Services, Modified Cost Accounting, hearing from January 24th, as an administrative error was made. An eraser was needed. Okay.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Jeremy. Administrative error that caused a discrepancy between your vote on a caustic hearing that was before your board earlier this year. And as you may recall, that item 9-2023 was a cost hearing for property located at 1781 8th Avenue in Olivehurst. So the discrepancy was between the motion made and the resulting vote and the findings, conclusions, and orders that were submitted in your packet. The discrepancy occurred because an administrative error that was contained on the final 2 slides of the PowerPoint presentation. They had screen captures of documents and they were incorrect. And so that's why that happened. So the written staff report that you received was correct, but again, the PowerPoint was not. So because your board based its motion on that final slide, the numbers in the accounting did not match that, what we spent and the findings, conclusions, and orders. So I just wanted to bring it up. So this is a screen capture to fully illustrate the item. The left circle there shows that this is the Yuba County Code Enforcement demand for payment, and then the fee there to the right. And so for a cost accounting hearing to occur, a few things have to happen. We have to have a notice and order to abate public nuisance. We have to have an abatement either voluntarily or by county directed. And then we have to have this document, which is the demand for payment. And that demand for payment must go unpaid for at least 30 days. Once it is late for payment after 30 days, the item is ripe for a hearing. So these were the recommendations, screen capture of those recommendations, and you can see those numbers are incorrect. And so this is the accurate cost accounting. You can see that the title has changed on the document and the amount is now correct, $37,956.80. So what we're asking today is that your board modify its orders regarding item number 9/2023 pursuant to the motion that was made in January. And this would be the correct one. So I've gone over this 4 times. I'm pretty sure it's correct this time. And so, again, recommending that you adopt these. You can make your recommendation right off of this screen. And by approving this item, the orders of the board will accurately state the administrative and abatement costs and penalties that were spent for this property on 8th Avenue in Olivehurst. With that, any questions that you may have?
Any questions from the board? No questions from the board. Any questions from the public? No questions from the public. Bring it back for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
And this will be a roll call as a quasi-judicial hearing.
That's for 79 cents?
I'm sorry? It's close, 80 cents.
All right, roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Messick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Okay. All right. You want to read the ordinances?
If you challenge in court the action or decision of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors regarding a zoning, planning, land use, or environmental protection matter made at any hearing described in this notice, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at such hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors at or prior to such hearing. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group.
Okay. First item is 600. Sheriff Corner ordinance, hold public hearing, waive first reading, and introduce ordinance. Captain Liebarger. Wow.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. Nate Liebarger, operator. As we know, we've been here several times the last few years with the proposal and the passing of Assembly Bill 481, the adoption of military use. We had then proposed a policy within the Sheriff's Office as well as the county ordinance to utilize what's been deemed as military equipment. Through the course of that, we have recently attended meetings with you guys annually to continue the use of that. But today I'm here to ask for an adjustment, and we're looking to amend that policy so we can acquire a utility vehicle that's known as referred to as the MRAP. So the MRAP is a personnel carrier that can be utilized to maneuver and handle up to 12 people inside of it, used as a rescue mission of any sort, high water, flood incidents, things of that sort, and fire. Its elevated platform allows us to be much more maneuverable than other things that we have within the sheriff's office. So due to AB 481, we have to obtain your guys' approval to make this amendment. The use of county council, we've made the amendment that's been proposed to you guys today to take a vote on. There is no cost associated with this procurement of this vehicle, as it's being done through the Defense Logistics Agency and their 1033 program. So once we obtain this vehicle, then we would be able to utilize it within the fleet in preparation for whatever may come. Feel free to have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public?
So move.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Roll call. Okay. Roll call.
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Messick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. 606, Health and Human Services.
Good morning, Board. Good morning, Chair and members of the Board. My name is Jamie Bartolome. I'm the Deputy Director at Health and Human Services. The item before you is to introduce the amendment to the Ordinance Code 1602 to join the existing Partnership Health Plan of California Commission. With 10 new counties joining Partnership, it is necessary for Partnership to adjust the number of Commission seats. Currently, there are 33 designated seats on the Partnership Commission. Beginning in 2024, excuse me, the Commission size will adjust due to the addition of the 10 new counties, including Yuba County, enrollment changes, redeterminations, and the new Kaiser direct contract. Highlighted changes to this amendment are changing the Commission members' term length from 4 years to 4 years rather than the 2 years stated in the original ordinance. Final Commission seat allocation with the addition of the 10 counties will be based on Medi-Cal enrollment on January 1st, 2024. All 24 counties will have at least one designated seat on the Commission. Additional seats will be allocated based on Medi-Cal enrollment in the respective county. Board of Supervisors are responsible for appointing individuals to the Partnership Commission. County staff such as HHS Director, Director of Public Health, etc., can provide recommendations. I am also here with Amy Turnipseed with Partnership. If there's any questions that I'm not able to answer. I am recommending the board approve the amended Yuba County Ordinance Code 1602 to join the existing Partnership Health Plan of California Commission today with the recommendation to appoint Dr. Liu to the Commission as the representative for Yuba County. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board?
If I may, through the chair. Does the ordinance designate the public health officer as the person who sits on the board, or is that a separate issue than being part of the partnership?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, the agendized item does not include an appointment. They would have to add another agenda item for that appointment. So today, the only thing before the board is to adopt the amended ordinance. To introduce first reading.
Excellent. So for further clarification, the public comment we received earlier about there being a stakeholder meeting to allow the providers to be the people that are on the board, that would not be interfered with or infringed on by what we're doing today.
That would be my understanding, Supervisor Fuhr. So if I could, through the chair, so introducing the ordinance today you still have an opportunity. You would be looking to, if the board so chose to move forward with the introduction of the ordinance today, you'd be looking at adoption of the ordinance at the board's meeting in January. And then the ordinance takes so many days to go into effect. I can't remember if it's 15 or 30
days.
But the ordinance itself does not designate who is the person on the board. Who designates that person?
The board will designate that person, but first the ordinance needs to go into effect.
Okay.
So today we do the ordinance, January we do the ordinance,
just,
and then at some point we as the board will then choose, based on hopefully stakeholder meetings, who we want to be the person.
At that point in time.
Yes.
But first things first, we need to approve this unit. Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
All right. I don't think I opened the public hearing, but I'm going to open it now. Is there any further comments? Okay. We'll waive the first reading and introduce the amendment to ordinance to join with the Partnership Health Plan of California Commission. Right? That's a well, I need a motion. Okay. Close the public hearing. I'll get it right yet.
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion. We have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer?
I would like to be yes, but with also the direction to hold such a stakeholder meeting so that the people who are the providers can be involved in it.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Messick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, correspondence.
The board may direct any item of informational correspondence to department head for appropriate action. We have received 4 letters. One letter is from Barkowitz, Chronic, and Shanahan regarding Yuba County Water Agency application 5632 and permit 15206. It's a petition for change involving water transfers. It's a temporary change. Agenda item 628-2023, letter from Feather River Air Quality Management District regarding the 2022 report for the Assembly Bill 2588 Air Toxics Hotspots Program. And agenda item 629-2023, letter from the Central Valley Regional Water Quality Control Board regarding the hard copy and digital agendas. And the last one is 632-2023, received independent audit report from Feather River Air Quality Management District for fiscal years ending June 30, 2022.
All right, next is board and staff member reports. Mr. Blazer.
Thank you. I could go on and on about all the Christmas activities, but I think we'll get plenty of that input. We did have a library advisory meeting for Yuba County Library. That's still on track for closure. I'm not sure how soon, a couple of months, since we have a $6 million grant to completely remodel the library. They do plan on keeping some library services available, places yet to be determined. Then the last Government Affairs Committee meeting through the Chamber, Azarani, anyway. Our Superintendent of Marysville Joint Unified gave a really nice presentation. She was very impressive. And then Tawny Dobson also gave a invitation breakfast for us to go out and listen to all the things going on at Yuba College. So that was also very good. Thank you.
Seth?
So the Tawny Dotson presentation for Yuba College was excellent. Yuba College plays an important role in our community, and I very much enjoyed it. We also had the Christmas parade. Thank you for those who participated. Appreciate it. It went really well, so super excited about all of that. Coming up all day on Thursday, I think, is homeless consortium meetings for me, followed by the community task force, and then we even have a ribbon cutting our VFW in Olivehurst. So lots of good stuff coming up. I don't think I'm going to see you guys again before Christmas. Merry Christmas.
All right, Gary.
So as many people are aware, Butte County Association of Governments is taking the lead on an effort to extend passenger rail service from Natomas to Chico with stations in Plumas Lake and Marysville. They have a virtual town hall on that project tomorrow at 5 p.m. If you go to northvalleyrail.org and you click on like what's happening, you can get the registration information. That's it.
Mr. Messick.
Okay, I'll bring up the parades again, but I want to thank Mary and her entire family for coming and decorating our float. So it was quite an effort. You guys were fortunate enough to just step in and ride. Mary and her entire family came and worked for, I don't know, several hours decorating and getting us ready, and just and did an outstanding job. So, yep, that's it.
Okay, well, in keeping with the Christmas parade, the Seth was our weather person high atop the Jeep, braving the cold wind. I attended a Hmong New Year celebration on Saturday, and we want to adjourn in memory of John Houston, who worked for us for 42 years. And that's it for me. All right, County Council?
Nothing from our office, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything other than the last item that the board just acted on the introduction of the ordinance. I understand Supervisor Fuhrer was looking maybe to have the board provide some direction on next steps, and it doesn't come from an individual board member, it need to come from the board, but just trying to look for, is there consensus on Dr. Liu and I guess holding a stakeholder meeting to gather some input before we make a recommendation back to the board on an appointment to that commission?
I think that's a very good idea. I think the board will.
Okay. Good. So I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that.
We got three, at least three. All five.
All right.
Okay.
And board, I also wanted to thank all of you for participating in our Christmas gift program, that we work with Marysville Joint Unified and Agents for Change on each year. So thank you for that.
Okay, when they're recommending pants, please give us waist and length. That's really kind of important for a lot of these kids because they got, 22-inch waist and they're 6 feet tall.
Right.
All right. Anything further, Mary? Okay. That being said, we will adjourn.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties.